We're back here on Southeastern 16, previewing schedules for all 16 SEC teams. We have made it to the Texas A&M Aggies. Jay Greeson alongside I'm Chase Robinson, as we'll spend the next few minutes talking about this schedule for the Texas A&M Aggies. Year 2 under Mike Elco. Year 1, we saw some good moments, Jay. We saw some tough losses starting off the season there against Notre Dame. You thought that was the game A&M was going to get, but year 2 under Mike Elco, I think there's a big upside coming into the year. Still a lot of unknowns, but I think it's going to be a good year for the Aggies.
Boy, oh boy, I think upside is such an interesting word when you're talking about what everybody in and around College Station is hoping for, because honestly, if you take the inexplicable drubbing they took at the hands of South Carolina out of the equation, that's a game through. I mean, that's a season that is a hard-fought loss to a national power in Texas last year. The incredible overtime drama in Auburn, and then the bowl game loss. And look, we all know you got to take every bowl game win and loss with a grain of sand if you're looking back from prior results, because some guys are motivated, some teams are motivated, some are not. But they were right there in there with Notre Dame, who was one of the last handful of teams standing. They played Texas tough as nails. And I mean, other than the 44-20 loss to South Carolina, I mean, there was a lot of positives for Mike Elco in year 1, because this time last year, Texas A&M had the most active portal since James Kirk in the SS Enterprise, man. I mean, everybody was vanishing. And really on Star Trek, and I don't know if you watched it, Chase, and I didn't watch a lot of it, but was there ever a more predictable outcome than when Kirk and Spock and Dr. McCoy got into the portal thing, and then they took like one henchman with them who you'd never seen before? That guy was 1,000% gonna die.
Yeah, that's true. Great. That was a great illustration there, Jay. That will lead us into diving into this year's schedule for the Texas A&M Aggies. So let's pull it up here, and it will all get underway Saturday, August 30th for their Week 1 game against UTSA. Week 2, they got Utah State coming to Kyle Field. So first 2 games at home, and then you make that road trip up to Notre Dame on Saturday, September the 13th. If you remember last year, like I mentioned, that was the season opener, was Notre Dame coming to College Station. They're playing again, but it's week 3. You have a couple of games to kind of figure yourself out, figure your team out, figure Marcel Reed out before you head up and play the Fighting Irish.
Well, I think if you're an A&M fan, you would have liked to have those flip-flopped, because last year, the season opener, Notre Dame kind of knew what they had with Riley Leonard. Now Notre Dame's got quarterback questions.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's Notre Dame. They're not replacing big-time seniors at big-time positions with guys nobody's ever heard of. I mean, it's Notre Dame. All these power programs are just changing in 4 and 5 stars at various spots. I mean, you mentioned the first player that I really think every Texas A&M discussion has to be centered around. Are you buying stock in Marcel Reed? And if you are, then the upside, again, that word is to coin the Michael Jordan phrase, the ceiling is the roof. Because if Marcel Reed is him, they've got dudes everywhere else, man. Yep. I mean, because Texas was quick to boast about their $40 million payroll in the offseason and portal conversations and NIL boasting and however you want to talk about it. A&M's payroll, A&M ain't passing the hat at church to get extra coins. You know it. They're willing to take the donations, the jingle, but they're spending the kind of money that folds.
Yeah, they are. They really are, and I think that will show. So they get the off week right there in week 4 before you get into kind of the next section of games. and that is SEC play. Their first SEC game will be hosting the Auburn Tigers. That'll be a night game at Kyle Field on September the 27th, and that's a big game to start SEC playoff with.
It is, and it's a big game for both programs. And I know on Bets and Ball Games on the Southeastern 16 network, Brian and I are kind of going in depth from the gambling aspect of season win totals. And even as an Auburn alum, I see this as a really difficult spot for Auburn to figure out a way to win. You've got the revenge factor from last year in the 43-41 overtime game in Jordan-Hare. You've got the off week for Texas A&M leading into this SEC opener. And, man, I think we talked earlier this week about some of the video game aspects. The more I've looked at how all the various off-season lists of home field advantage, they did Kyle Field dirty. Kyle Field is a damn hard place to play.
It is. It really is. And they get their first 3 SEC games right there in Kyle Field. If you notice that, they got Auburn, then Mississippi State to start October, and then the Florida Gators come in. A lot of people are high on Florida. So when you get, especially, we don't know how Mississippi State's going to be, but we think Auburn has a chance to be a decent football team. We think Florida has a chance to be a pretty good football team. So you get, especially Auburn and Florida at home in your first 3 SEC games before going on the road. Like, that's big to have your first conference games when you want to start strong in conference play, to have them in Kyle Field. That's fantastic.
It is fantastic. And if you're looking at, Brian and I frequently talk about if you split a 2-game swing of difficult opponents, if this Texas A&M team comes out of the Mississippi State game at 4-1, and whether that loss is in South Bend or some sort of craziness, because it's not to the level of Auburn and LSU games crazy. It's not to the level of Auburn Iron Bowls in Auburn crazy, but Auburn and Texas A&M have had some back and forth doozies over the last handful of years since Texas A&M has joined this league. So if you're an Aggie fan and you're 4-1 going into the Florida game, you're thinking real highly about your playoff aspirations, because there are a whole lot of doable games on the back end of that.
Yeah, there really is. And I want to look at this October 25th matchup, because they do go to Arkansas on October 18th, then another road trip before a bye week. You go to LSU, and I feel like that game last year for Texas A&M, it was like 38-23, I think. A&M beats LSU. We knew it was going to be a great game going in, but A&M kind of, I feel like, solidified themselves in that game. Like, okay, this A&M team could be a team we see in the SEC championship or something. Now they return the trip down to Tiger Stadium. LSU expected to be a playoff type team this year. That to me is a big matchup to circle. A&M going to Tiger Stadium to take on LSU.
Completely agree. And it is, in truth, this A&M offense is going to be built to have success home or road. And the linchpin, of course, is Marcel Reed. If he can develop into being able to go to his second and potentially tertiary read, they got 2 great transfer portal receivers. Le'Veon Moss, who, despite missing 5 games, still rushed for almost 800 yards last year, is back. The offensive line returns a whole lot of guys with familiar names. I don't know of a quarterback that we have a question mark over in this league who has a better supporting cast around him than Marcel Reed, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. Yeah, it really does. And that is the truth. So that is the middle portion of the schedule there. They have the off week before the first week of November. Then they get into that final stretch of the season, as they will make a trip to Missouri and then hosting South Carolina in Kyle Field. I know A&M will be looking forward to having that one. They'll have Samford there in Kyle Field in a non-conference game, and then we'll finish up at DKR there in Austin taking on the Longhorns, who are expected to be one of the best teams in the country. But starting off after the bye week, going to Missouri, and then again that South Carolina, having them come to Kyle Field. We talked about the importance of Kyle Field. Having that game in College Station, to me, will be big.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of potential potholes on this schedule. And you rightly touched on Notre Dame early on the road. You got to go to Red Stick, and the Tigers will be in revenge mode after Texas A&M flexed on them last year. Every team in the country that's got to go to DKR better buckle up, because I think that could be the nation's best defense. So, I mean, but 9-3 seems not only doable, but pretty attainable.
Yeah.
And then if you find a way to steal one of those and you feel good about handling your business, especially at home, then at 10-2, every SEC team that finishes 10-2 moving forward with 12 teams in the playoff, which will only expand in the next couple of years to 16, if you're 10-2 in this league or the Big Ten, you're in. You're going to punch your ticket to the 16-team field, whether you get to Atlanta or not. And you may not get to Atlanta if you do, because let's say Texas A&M Notre Dame's a coin flip in the eyes of the sports bettors. It's probably not. Texas A&M is probably a little bit of an underdog on the road, and that's not only because of the road factor, but because of the betting perception, and the betting houses know people like – there are a lot of gamblers out there at the Knights of Columbus around the country who like to bet on the Irish. So the Irish, the Cowboys, the Yankees, those teams always have their odds slided a little bit against them because they know they are fan favorites. But if you handle your business at home and handle your business against teams you're better than, because I think they're better than Missouri. I think they are better than everybody else that they have to see on the road, with the possible exception of Notre Dame. This is a 9-3 team that'll be on the cusp, and potentially a 10-2 team that will kick in the door to the playoff. And really, look, Elco did something that really only Spurrier's done in our lifetime, and that's with all apologies to David Cutcliffe. And that is build a team nobody wanted to play in Durham, North Carolina, when everybody's sitting around drinking Chardonnay and talking about, hey, our 5-star freshmen are going to be really good at Cameron Indoor Arena. So if you can win at Duke with being the second fiddle, if you know what you're doing, you're going to have big-time success in College Station.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And yeah, I mean, this Texas A&M team, while there's some tough moments on the schedule, yeah, you look at 9-3, and I think that's, totally possible for this Texas A&M team, especially with the expectations and Marcel Reed, and you mentioned the guys around him. That'll be big as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Texas A&M does in this 2025 season. Before we get out of here, I got to tell you about our friends at GameTime Sidekicks. Yeah, GameTimeSidekicks.com is where you can get a cup just like Jay Greeson has. If maybe we're Texas A&M fans, go get your cup there. Any other fan of a school, all the SEC schools there, plus 350 more universities with the officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Top of the market quality when it comes to construction, ice retention, got the double wall vacuum insulated stainless steel. It's all made right there in Knoxville, Tennessee, right here in SEC country. All logo printing and design done there. Tons of designs and logos offered for each school. They even have the college vault line. Everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, and 40-ounce plus bottles and shaker cups. And you, the viewers, get the 20% discount. Yeah, 20% discount using promo code SE16. GameTimeSidekicks.com, promo code SE16 there, GameTime Sidekicks. Also, you see another little logo down there on the screen. We have a new sponsor, Rock Form, and we welcome them on board. They are the world's strongest magnetic phone case. You go to their website, Rockform, R-O-K, rockform.com. And I was looking on there this morning. There's all kinds of great, whether it's magnetic wireless charging stand, magnetic cases, dash mounts for your car. They even have golf accessories, Jay. So some things you can throw in the golf cart when you go out there. And there you go. There you go. So check out rockform.com. Again, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. We appreciate them for partnering with us as well. Subscribe to our channel if you have not already. More schedule previews on the way. Texas A&M fans, like this video, share this video, drop a comment what you think about the schedule coming up as well. And we'll be back with more SEC football talk here on Southeastern 16.